Good morning and well, happy Sunday morning. It's the beginning of a new week. It's the beginning of whatever something good's going to happen to you this week. So congratulations on that good happening to you. Good on you. Welcome back to another early morning Sunday show. Cat is once again out doing whatever he is. Last week he brought me a mouse. It was dead, but he hasn't brought me a dead mouse in ages, so it was actually kind of exciting to see. Interesting week. I got air conditioning, we got heat. Wash and dryer's coming this week, so pretty excited about that. Traveled down to Cleveland. You saw my last to the left of the dial. I did a walkabout in Cleveland. I didn't, when I drove in, how I drove to downtown to my hotel, I didn't notice much of anything. Probably was listening and singing the music. And so I go to start this film for my left of the dial, and all of a sudden I'm looking and go, holy crap, this thing's beat to hell. And it was just so trashed. The whole entertainment district. The restaurants had opened a week ago. They had just been able to open a week ago to let people in. And then they had the riots and they trashed them. And they had to close up again. My favorite cupcake shop, the favorite, every evening, when I'm downtown Cleveland, I like to go get my cupcake there. It was, I saw the door was open there and they're cleaning up, and they trashed it. It probably wasn't even a cupcake, but people break things up. Finally found a place to eat, and I'm talking to the owner. It's a Lebanese restaurant. He was very happy to see me, by the way. And I said, so how did your place not get trashed? He goes, well, we stood out front. And they left us alone because we stood out front. So yeah, it was sad. But cities all over had this happen. But I had seen it firsthand. Midland, Michigan is not the hotbed. We did have our own quiet protests here. So way to go, everyone. I was able to meet this week a fellow VC member, Greg J, and he has just started a channel, which is really cool. So Greg, really good to meet you. He gave me some stereo equipment. It was just such an honor to meet him. We didn't have a lot of time to talk, but he's out of Pittsburgh. So when I get back to Pittsburgh, when I start to flying to Pittsburgh, Greg will be making sure I come down, and we'll listen to some records. Folks, if you know where, I travel throughout Ohio. Please, if you're ever interested in meeting up, want to go do records, want to go do lunch, I'll talk. I love meeting people, so it's always fun for me. So let me know. I know there's a few of you where we've been trying to meet up for over a year. Just darn schedules, right? Another guy I had a neat conversation with, and actually I've had a lot since all this has happened. So many people have reached out by a lot of new channels. And a new channel I just called out also beside Greg J is Deadbeat Record Vault. And he has 8 subscribers. He just graduated from college, moved up to Seattle because his band moved up there. So he moved up to be with his band. So he gets this cool kind of perspective going on. And I know Rachel, the music ma'am, who has subscribed to every single channel within the VC. She seriously has, I believe. She already is watching him. But there was, had a little conversation with him, through the internet. So that was interesting. I think we're about ready to go here, though. I did find the one thing from all this flood, everything gone. The one thing that finally hit me that I'm really missed is journals. I had accumulated 40 years of journals. Ever since I graduated from college, I began to journal. Every trip I had, I journaled. Everything about my children, I journaled. Anything that happened in my brain. I had paintings that when I retire, I would do some painting, and I drew out how this painting would be. And I lost them all. And my goal was, I want to give these to my kids, because here's kind of a history through my mind of what happened, what was going on in life, some of my thoughts, good, bad, whatever. It was all there, and it was just like a stack of this, of everything. And I used to pick them up once in a while and I wrote some pretty damn funny stuff. My view of the world is a little different than most, I think. But yeah, yeah, that wild one was hard because of the one thing I wanted to give my kids more than anything else. It was my journals, because my journals were me. They now have the VC videos, so there you go, kids. If you're watching, you got some VC videos for when I die. Excellent. All right. Hey, this week it came in. I'm not going to discuss it this week because I just got it. I haven't listened to it, but Zamrock, it finally came in, my Zamrock box set. I am just so damn excited about this. I've been wanting this and looking forward to this. It was stuck in New Jersey for 5 weeks. It was in the New Jersey post office. You know, I sent Mike Jam on Vinyl VCLT 5-6 weeks. It's stuck in the New Jersey post office. I sent Trish some VCLT in New Jersey. She got it within maybe 4 days. Hell if I know. But what is interesting is look at this. These albums, they're sealed. So you have to open up the seal first to get the album, then to get the vinyl. Really kind of cool. Very, very neat. So really looking forward to that. I received a lot of SCLT this week. I came back from my journeys and there was some more, and we'll do a special video, try to show this and keep up on that. But man, there's just some incredible things. Anything is incredible if when it comes from you, when it comes from the heart, and it comes, man, I want to help. How could it not be incredible? It doesn't matter what it is. It's all so incredible. It's just some wonderful notes, and the notes really, 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 really meant a lot to me. I'll keep them upstairs and not in the basement, okay? All right. So let's begin here. And this is going to be a little bit of a shocker, okay? And these records I bought before the flood. I've been kind of rethinking my position at that time on what I was buying, and some people showed this. I don't know, was it Jam on Vinyl, Mono Mike, was it Mazzy, someone else? The Bob Dylan original mono recordings. There it all is. Look at all them albums. This has the first his first eight albums are on here, and although what many consider the most important albums that he did. Now I've gone on record as not being a big Dylan fan. So you said, why in the hell would you invest that kind of money? I had everything in Dylan on CD because he was an important artist. It wasn't like I loved Dylan because I didn't. I knew he was important. Some of his music was okay to me, but he wasn't like the man to me. So I bought his stuff on CD, but I had barely anything on vinyl. Well, I saw this and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get this, we're going to try it, listen to his first albums. And here's what I can tell you about stuff. Well, let me show you. It also has a nice book. There are some words. Sam, Final Douche, there are some words, but luckily it's mostly pictures, not a lot of words. So I look forward to reading all those box sets. Did I ever really get all them books read? No, I was waiting for retirement on that. Hey, it's everything we wait for is retirement. The albums, very nice. But what I want to mention here, and why I bring this up, is how we change in life. Okay. Again, Dylan wasn't part of my youth, wasn't part of my childhood, which is probably why maybe he didn't resonate as much. And I listened to his music on CD. I listened to it, but I never listened to it. Now, does that make sense? Sometimes we put on music and we hear it. It's in the background. We're doing something else. But I never just sat. I never sat and listened to it. And so I got this in, and it came in after the flood. And so I took this one out, the very first one here, Bob Dylan, the folk one. If there's one, this is his folk singer. And I put it on, and I listened. I didn't do anything else, and I listened. And I was amazed. I totally loved it. Yeah, his voice still bugs me a little bit, but it's okay because it makes sense on what he's doing. But the musicianship, the songs, and I found the beauty of listening to Dylan. Um, it was a very, very good listen. My ears had changed. What I heard had changed. My thought process on him had changed. You know, here was a guy out of Hibbing, Minnesota. If you've never been to Hibbing, Minnesota, it's one cold as hell place, and it's just this big frickin' hole in the ground from the mining. I mean, it's just like gigantic. You can go tour the hole. It's actually kind of cool. I've done that. Huge things, and in Dylan in high school, he had a rock and roll band called the Golden Chords, I believe. But then he went to college and got interested in folk music, and so here we have his songs, and this is his first one's more folk. Then he got into protest, and obviously he went electric, and this thing goes all the way up to. I'm trying to drink a cup of coffee, but I'm not doing well with that. It goes all the way up to John Wesley Harding. So life changes, and our ears change. And I guess what I'm telling anybody, if there's stuff that hey, I didn't much care for that before. There's a time when you just need to revisit things. So you need to sit and maybe do what I do and just sat and listen and paid attention. I'm not good at that. I'm always trying to do 2 to 3 things at once. That's just how I am. I was like, I can get 2 to 3 things done. Boom, boom, boom. And then I can start something else. I like to get things done. It just makes me happy. And just sit still. It's not, and just to listen. You need to do that. And I did. And so, folks, I really, this mono box set has been very enjoyable. More, I did, again, I'm not a Dylan fan, and I buy the freaking box set in mono, and it was a good decision. It was a good time to have this when you don't have a ton of stuff. Well, I can't say that now with the SCVLT or SCLT, whatever we're calling that. Now I do have a lot, but things like this, I have to spend time to listen. So really good box set, Dylan mono. And this had come in, and this was really neat. If I get, I'm still trying to get, look, I got a comfy, I bought a comfy chair yesterday. I finally, I came up here to listen to music last night, and I fell asleep in it. So it's a comfy chair. I'm really happy about that. All right, we have the moving sidewalks. We'll take the plastic off so you can see it, and it still is shining. So the moving sidewalks, this was their only album, and it was called Flash. American Psychedelic Blues Band from Texas. It came out in the mid-60s, 67, 68, I believe. And like I said, this was their only album. Known because this was the album that Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top started or was in. And Billy Gibbons, he had gone to the Warner Brothers Art School in Hollywood. Warner Brothers had an art school, probably to make cartoons and stuff like that. But that's where he was at. And he got in with some guys and began to make some guys. Yeah, they were some guys, and he formed different groups. Some of the groups, that he formed, one of them was called the Saints. Then there was Billy G and the Blue Flames. The Coachmen. The Coachmen was one. But he wound up going back to Houston. In Houston, he became really big fans of Rocky Erickson. And so, and of 13th Floor Elevators. And so he formed his new group, and it was called The Moving Sidewalks. And you can really hear it. Now, also, for instance, there's a song on here called Pluto. And I'll play you a sample. It is Hendrix. You listen to that thing and go, God, that thing sounds like Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix loved Billy Gibbons' guitar playing. Said, man, this guy's going to be the next big thing. There's another song, Joe's Blues, that's very much like that also. They used all the studio tricks you could come up with. There was like that disjointed, there's these disjointed audio type sounds on there. There's backward loops, backward vocals happening. They're just trying anything possible. Well, after this, after they did this album, two members got drafted into the military, shipped to Vietnam, and Billy Gibbons went on to form ZZ Top. So this was great. I had the complete Moving Sidewalk in CD. Now I have this. Then, Vinyl Me Please. I'd about tapped that sucker out, on what I wanted out of there. Well, now I can start that one over again. Some I'll rebuy, some I won't. But there was Earl Gardner, the Magician. And Vinyl Me Please does a nice job. There's, it comes with a little booklet. It's inside of there. Earl Gardner was a twin. He was born in 21, died in 77 in Pittsburgh, and he had a twin brother. By age 3, he began to play the piano. By age 7, he was actually on the radio playing piano. But guess what? He never learned how to read music. He had such a mind that he could just remember the stuff. And so he could hear people play and was able to sit down and play it, but he never learned how to play music. His jazz is more of a swinging jazz. When he was coming out, bop, bebop, and all that was going on, he started with a few of those groups, but he was more melodic, and thus that was his type of jazz, more of the swing. And he did come up with the standard Misty. He did a live album. What was it? It was called Concert by the Sea. This was in the 50s. That thing sold over 1 million copies. That's how big it did. Oh, that light really is bright on there, isn't it? It's so, he just had a different way about him. He was only 5'2", very short person. So when he would go to play, he would put phone books on his bench to prop him up so he could play properly. Magician, this thing, it's a mix of originals and standards, so you get a little bit of both. Now, this came out in 1974. What's going on? Fusion, right? Everyone's going that way. The Fender Rhodes is now being used instead of the piano. He didn't do it. He says no. He took some newer standards, stuff like from Davis and Bacharach. He did some of their songs and then had some of his own originals, and then just kind of made some of his own things. Close to You's on here. He does that from Bacharach and David. Then there's Someone to Wash Over You is a Gershwin number. So it's a kind of a variety. He had in his group was Grady Tate on percussion, Bob Cranshaw on Fender and acoustic bass, and Jose Miguel on Congo drums. It's that rhythm section that makes this album so great. There is this beautiful rhythm with the congos and the percussion happening, going on behind him. It gives it kind of a Latin tinge, but not just a strong, like a Tito Puente Latin. So it made it a fun, relaxing album to listen to. Really kind of enjoyed this. I mean, I'll play so you can hear a little bit of it, but you get, even songs like, what's it called here? Night Wind. It has this gospel type feel to it. Really, really neat. There's some slower songs and there's some faster songs. So, yeah, this is really cool. I have no idea who Earl Gardner was. I was unfamiliar with him. Isn't music about learning, right? So we got that. Here was another one. Okay, so here was another shocker one I bought before Flood, but someone had shown this. It might have been Happy Hippie, Rod. I'm not, might have been you. Byrds, the singles collection. So again, I like the Byrds. I had all the Byrds on CD. Well, all their main stuff. They got in a whole bunch of other things that I never did buy, but I just bought their first one on a real nice vinyl. It was a newer one. I had a couple originals. They weren't nothing in great shape. But I bought this, the Columbia singles. And it was, again, it was a very enjoyable listen. They hate being 65 of Mr. Tambourine Man, and thus became the folk rock movement, putting more of that into acoustic. And this has 30 singles from 2 years. It has A and B sides, and some of the singles that were withdrawn. Nothing fancy in there, nothing big on that. They redo the Columbia 2i. A group that, again, I listened to, but I never really listened to. And so it's allowed me to sit back and take some time to listen to their music a lot better, and I'm enjoying it a whole lot more. Doesn't replace my love of punk, 70s punk now, but I enjoyed this a lot in listening to their music again. So that was good. And finally, I'd recently gotten this on Vinyl Me Please. Well, that one's gone, right? But I saw it. I was down in Toledo, and I got some cool few things I bought in Toledo. Didn't buy a lot, but I bought some nice things. But it was Waiting for Little Milton. Now, a lot of my collection I'm not going to rebuild. Yeah, I want to keep moving forward on what I do, and I don't want to, I don't need it. I have my favorites. I get my favorites back in. There's some 70s and 80s stuff I really, really want. But this one I saw, it was an original. And I really liked this when it came out, but I don't think I talked about it yet because I had stuff. I still hadn't shown all my Barnes & Noble half-price stuff, believe it or not. I still had stuff waiting to show you. But so Waiting for You by Little Milton. This guy, he was born in 1934 down in Mississippi, and he actually, long life, lived till 2005. His name was James Milton Campbell, but they called him Little Milton. American blues singer, guitarist. He began street performing at age 12, and really his influence, it came from T-Bone Walker. Well, yeah, he was discovered by Sun Records, by the talent scout from Sun Records, a guy named Ike Turner. Discovered him in '53 and brought him to Sun Records, where he recorded. His singles didn't do much. He wound up making his own label called Bobbin Records. And he signed Albert King. So that was kind of a neat thing. But eventually, his label was bought out by others. Well, in '71, he joined Stax. And this is his 5th album that he had made, and this came out in 1973. This is smoother blues. It's not gritty and not dark, but it's also funky. There's a song on here, Women Can, what's it called? Women, yeah, you don't have to be so cold. Woman, you don't have to be so cold. And there's just this funky bass going on. I mean, it is incredibly cool sounding. But it was kind of coming up with what was going on in the times. It's not bluesy like chess and checkers. It's a different type because you have the Memphis horns on here along with the Memphis Symphony Orchestra. So they're adding strings to the whole thing. I mean, he does the Thrill Is Gone, B.B. King. What's B.B. King does on Thrill Is Gone? He adds strings. So does Little Milton. So really nice pickup. I like that. So that's what we got this week. Vintage t-shirt. Look at that. That thing, man, this was from 1982. A race I ran down in Barrington, Illinois. Still kind of fits, maybe a little tighter than what it used to be because I've been working out. So I now have more t-shirts than record albums. And if everyone's watching my channel for the last couple of years, I try never to repeat the t-shirt. Eventually I do have to. But hey, thanks for watching. It was a great week. It was good to be out traveling again and seeing things, house. Everything's done in the basement. We're stripped down. Now I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do, how I'm going to put records in. I got my first little 6 cubicles, and it's not enough from what I see coming in here. And I'm trying to save albums. I can do about 14 albums a day, and then it really hurts my back, and I have to stop. Just the movement to do it really hurts. So, but I am trying to restore some CDs and albums, and at least have them in paper sleeves. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Went way too long again. Everyone have a great week. Bye.